Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Daniel Keeton here with Keeton and Company Real Estate, and I'm here with our very special guest, Mrs. Sarah Huffman, and she is the inside sales agent, the lead inside sales agent for our company, and we're going to pick her brain a little bit today about what she does and how she has success at it. So if you're ever curious about this position, or maybe you're thinking about hiring somebody in this position, Sarah is a great resource, and she is excellent at what she does. So you guys might want to tune in and listen to this. But before we get started into the daily life of what you do, tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into real estate, and where you came from, and how it came to be where you are today.
So my name is Sarah Huffman. I am the ISA on the team, or Clients Care Manager. How I got into real estate, I was a bank teller at a bank for about 4 years. It's a very 9-to-5 job, very corporate. You don't get a lot of flexibility, this is it. And there wasn't a lot to grow from in that industry. It was a very community-sized bank, so there wasn't much to grow in and move up in the world, as you could say. So I was definitely looking for something different. I was very hungry for more. I wanted to be able to, one, make more money, two, I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to find something that I could make my own craft. And I found Daniel on Facebook. We're old friends from back in the day.
Way back in the day.
And he had put out this position as ISA, and I'm really good at talking on the phone. I love people, but I still love being my own boss in a way, and having my own flexibility, and having motivation to move up. And that's what this position does, is you can move up as far as you want. The sky's the limit, and that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, that's true in real estate sales, that one, you're your own boss essentially, and two, there's no limit in what you do. And it's interesting you pointed out, like some smaller companies maybe just have a ceiling where you just can only go up so high and that's it. But I think some people were built to say, how far can I go in life, and it's nothing wrong with anybody who works at a bank or somewhere else, but this job is kind of built for a specific person.
Exactly.
And I think, and so when you saw that ad on Facebook that we put out there, did you have any idea what a client care manager was or anything like that? Or
really.
were you just kind of,
Well, I kind of knew by the title that I would hopefully be taking care of clients.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know what was entailed with it. So when I went to the interview, I even called my husband. I was like, I really don't think this is gonna be of anything. I'm just gonna go talk to him, see what he says. We were in there for I think an hour and a half, and I loved it. I fell in love. I knew right then that I wanted to do this. I felt like this position was made for me. Just taking care of clients. I make about 200 phone calls a day, maybe more. I make about anywhere from 100 to 150 texts a day. It seems like a lot, but honestly, just getting on the phone, talking to these people, you find so much about people, and you really get to connect and grow on that relationship, and that's what I really, really love about it.
So at the bank, you were client-facing, so you were there face-to-face with them. I'm sure you talked to people on the phone. Do you still feel like you get that kind of interaction with people in the similar sense, or is it a little bit different?
It's a little different. I feel I work more in a local community, so everybody that came in, I knew them. I knew their face. I knew who they were. We joked around. We had conversations. You knew who their mom was, and just had that local interaction.
Their cousin.
So this is a little different because you're talking to so many different people. But I think that's what's cool about it. I had the same people coming in every day talking about the same thing. These, I get so many, it's like a diversity. So many people with different backgrounds, coming from different things. Everybody grew up differently, and you get to learn about these people and kind of help them transition, hopefully, into buying or selling a home, which is a big decision.
Yeah. So when we were, just so you guys know, when we were looking to hire this position, we probably had, maybe a dozen and a half applications done. And Sarah was one that rose to the top. And we were talking about it this morning. It's interesting that we're putting applications out for positions and people don't follow the instructions. And that's one way to just get yourself to the bottom of the pile, is just not follow the instructions on the application. So of course Sarah did. And one thing we look for is we use the DISC profile for personality types. And Sarah, I had known her, but not as well as I do now. But she filled out the DISC profile, and it was like the right position. And so one of the things that an ISA needs to have is we believe a high D in their DISC profile, which is a driver, somebody who's going to push. And so one thing, obviously, you said you do is 200 phone calls a day. I mean, a lot of people listening to that, they're like, holy moly,
Yeah,
like how do
I think
you
that
do 200
scares
phone
people.
calls a day? Yeah, exactly.
Even the agents on the team, they're
Yeah.
like, you do 200? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And so, you're built for it. You've been doing it how long now? Since what, October,
A
September?
little over 6 months now.
Yeah. Okay, so
August,
6 months.
I think.
Yeah. So you're lasting in this business. I think you're proving yourself. I think a lot of people come into an ISA position and then get burned out. In real estate in general, they get burned out. So tell people about this when somebody hears that, holy moly, 200 phone calls, they had that kind of reaction. What is it that keeps you kind of pushing through when somebody, because of course I'm imagining most days you get somebody that says, don't ever call me back again, you're crazy, stop, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
What helps you keep going through those?
I get a lot of that,
Uh-huh.
of no, don't call me ever again, hang-ups. And that's okay though. I just keep going because I think a lot of people focus on the transaction, and it's always nice when you start getting appointments through and you get a regular buildup of income coming in because of your hard work. But I think what's really cool is the people I get to help. When I first started, I got this one person on the phone. She was like, my credit is awful. I come from a small town. I don't think I can do anything. And we talked for about 3 or 4 months. I helped her get with a lender who helped build up her credit a little bit, give her a better idea what she's looking for. Mm-hmm. And she found a home. And that was just, that alone was kind of really rewarding.
Gets you excited. Like you can push those other people aside who say no, knowing that there's someone out there you can help.
That really wants to find a home for themselves or whatever their challenges in life, that I can help them. Mm-hmm. I think, and once we close on that, that's when I feel, okay, cool. Let's go to the next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that helps you get through it. And so do you have any like mind games that you play with yourself to where maybe you don't dwell on the negatives or like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, me personally, like if I get rejected a lot, it can just wear my spirit down a little bit. So what do you do? Like, do you tell yourself, oh, it's okay? Or do you have some mind trick that you play with yourself?
Coffee.
I
mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Like rejection to me, it's kind of like, it is what it is. I got a pretty tough skin. If somebody comes up to me and they're like, no, I don't want to ever talk to you again. I'm like, that's all right. We might meet down the road. I've had people change their minds. They tell me they don't want to talk to me. Yeah. And then 3 months later, I reach out and I just say, hey, just wanted to see how you were doing. And they're like, oh, great. Yeah. And they're super nice. Yeah. People could be having a horrible day that day. That's why they treat you like that. That's all right. We all have horrible days. Next day could be a whole different story. So,
well, that's profound right there, because you're telling yourself that, look, that just might be a bad day for that person, right? And you can't let their bad day affect how you may be able to serve them by saying, well, they made me sad, they don't want to talk to me, So, hey, maybe down the road. And so you've seen that. So you've seen where they've said no, and then all of a sudden you maybe call or text them again and they respond and they're having a different day, right?
And I've had people, those kind of people, they don't flat out say, hey, don't ever talk to me again. Uh-huh. They might just say, hey, we're just looking. No, we're not interested. We don't want to talk right now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. 3 months down the road, I'll give you a call. We're still not looking. All right, great. Can I stay in contact?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you just keep going.
Just keep going. Keep pushing through. All right, so for people who are still new to this whole inside sales agent, or we call it client care position, like how a lot of people know what a real estate agent does, or at least they think they know, like a daily basis of, showing houses, negotiating contracts, listing appointments, dealing with inspections, whatever. How is your day-to-day routine different than that? Maybe walk people through what you do when you get into the office and when you go to sleep at night, generally for work.
All right. Well, the first thing is to get coffee.
Got to start with the fuel.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about this earlier. It's about motivation. Listen to some podcasts in the morning, maybe some really like hyped up music just to get your spirit going. You come in, and the first thing I do is hit the phone calls. We had people that came in overnight that were looking at some of our Facebook ads that I need to reach out to, or I've had some people that texted me or tried to call me last night when I put my phone away. So I'm getting back to all of that, getting calls done, just reaching out and replying to anybody that needs it, and just get going. Usually I hit probably about 50 calls first thing in about an hour or two. So
you hit the calls the first thing in the morning from the previous night. And then do you have like a system of like, I'm going through the hots, the warms, or you're just hitting your tasks and follow-up boss?
So I usually have my task and follow-up boss. I can have anywhere from like 30 to 150, and I usually just knock those out. Go through and knock them out. The next thing I do is I go through my personal clients, people that I have talked to, we have set an appointment, we've been talking to them, working with them, and I reach out and just make sure everything's going okay. Maybe I reach out to the agent to see how everything's going with them, just make sure everything is going straight, narrow, and if they need any help.
Yeah.
After that, I hit the warms, which are people that I've had a great conversation with. Maybe they're thinking about it, but it's going to be another year or two down the road, and I just keep in contact with that. And then after that, I usually have lunch, some more coffee, and then that's when I hit the expired and FSBO.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a little recharged. I had a break, and that's kind of when I get into that, and
So that's a whole nother world.
That's
so
a whole nother world.
That's your outbound calling people who
maybe
are...
circles prospecting a little bit, working my sphere, just texting some people if they need help.
Yeah. So for people that maybe like say, well, what's FSBO? What's expired? So explain what that is.
So expired is anybody that had a agreement or contract with a realtor and it is expired. They are released from it now. Maybe they weren't happy. They were trying to sell their home. Maybe they weren't happy with the marketing and things like that. So they either fired or finally just released after 60 days or so. And then I reach out and I say, hey, I would love to help you out. Let me just show you what we can do. And I go from there.
Yeah.
And FSBO is for sale by owner. That is people that are trying to sell their home by themselves. It's not likely that's going to happen, but it doesn't mean it can't. But it's always great just to have that backup and have someone help you, and having a great team that can get your house sold for you.
Yeah. So it's just finding out what their position that they're in.
Right.
See, the expireds and the FSBOs, like they are already identifying themselves as like, I need to sell a house or I want to sell a house. They just had maybe no success or no success yet, so it's different than the
So we want to show them the success.
Exactly. Yeah, how we do it differently, right? Yeah. So tell me, like, when you started this, you know, obviously it's one of those jobs that as you do it more, you get better at it, you figure it out a little more. What are some things that you've learned since you've been at it 6 months or whatever now that you said, well, this now I know how to maybe talk to people, or maybe here's a script, or maybe a process I follow, or you know, something that you've learned. Say, okay, this is starting to click. Like this is how I set appointments. I mean, whether you're an ISA or you're a real estate agent, every agent should really know how to do what you're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So maybe give some tips of like, this is what I've learned over time from doing this for 6 months, thousands of phone calls later. Yeah.
When I first started, obviously I was really nervous to get on the phone, and I had a script. I got taught to follow a script. This is what you say. And I kind of realized for myself I don't like that as much. It doesn't feel as natural. It didn't work as well for me as being more natural does. But it's all about strategy. So getting 3 questions in. Maybe they came in on a Facebook site and they're maybe looking around at homes and that's it. Well, you don't know if they're actually looking to move, or maybe they're just looking. Maybe it's going to be down the road. It's all about 3 questions. 1, what brought you to our site? 2, when do you think you might want to move in the future? And the third question is anything. You know, what are you looking for in a home? What area are you thinking about? What price range? Keeping them on the phone just a little bit longer to at least get 3 questions in.
Yeah.
I feel like that really impacts that person and says, okay, this person isn't trying to force anything on me.
They care about me.
They just want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of makes you more memorable.
Yeah.
And it helps kind of get them out of that ice cold position. Everybody has a guard up.
Yeah.
Asking these questions kind of takes that wall down.
Yeah, because people generally don't want to be sold to, but they like buying things. So they have this, you know, this wall, like you said, I think, especially with all of the spam calling going on now. I forget what stat I saw, how many billions of spam calls go on every week or whatever. And so when they hear another person there, that's good. So your 3 questions that you shoot for is what brought you to our site. So you have probably a little bit of a picture, but it's probably good for them to say it, like whether they're coming in on an ad for pools or coming in on a specific property.
And they reassure themselves. It's kind of, that's funny how it works, but people like when you reassure them.
Yeah.
And they kind of repeat